Kathleen Gorman, and I'm a retired teacher and reading specialist. And right now I am grandmother, a Nona, and I write children's picture books.
Hey, my name is Gayle Taylor Davis, and at this point in my life, I'm an author. I was a teacher for 36 years, and I retired from that. So now I'm writing books.
Hi, I'm Karen J. Moore, and I'm an author. I write for children.
I took a writing class, a seminar, and we were challenged to come up with an intriguing title. And Twisty Green Monster popped into my head. The next job was to come up with a story. And actually, can I hold it? This is an autobiographical story. It is based on something that happened in my own life when I was a little girl. A Twisty Green Monster really exists on a playground. It's called a slide that goes around like this. We used to have one in Storyland in Fresno, and I couldn't go down it, but my brother did. So slides were my Twisty Green Monster. It's a story about bullies and overcoming fear.
I've always loved words. As a child, I loved books. You know, we didn't have much money, so the book people came to our neighborhood, and they let me check out as many books as I wanted. So I always thought if I could be a teacher, I would always be around books. So that's what I did. And then of course I taught English, and so I was always working with words.
Well, I worked with children for about 17 years, and I worked in I was an instructional aide for an elementary school. I worked with K through 3, and I've always loved story of any kind, and so it sort of just led me into writing stories for them.
Uh, 11 years. I started when I retired in 2010. The first time I retired in 2010, I started going to Writing for Pup class put on by Janice Stevens, and she's a wonderful author and a supporter and mentor, and she encourages all of her students to write.
Probably writing about 12 years.
There you go. And it's been a long journey, so it's been a good journey for you.
It's been a lot of fun.
I've been writing my entire life. When I was in high school, I wrote a poem about the types of drivers in the world, and it was published in the driving magazine. My teacher sent it in. I didn't even know it. I got back. So I've always done that. I've written poems. I had a little business for a while because my students challenged me, what are you going to do with it? So I would write, people would give me information. I'd write a poem about their loved one or whatever, and that was really fun. But I've just always written, and I have many articles published in Fresno Bee and the magazine the local magazine about our county and stuff. And it's just, and what I really like to do is I like to meet people and find their story and share their story with the world.
Barbara Park's Junie B. Jones series, Eric Carle, who writes for children, Dr. Seuss children's books. Being a kindergarten teacher, I learned a lot from authors and from reading to the kids all the time, but those were 3 of my favorites. And Tommy DePaula, I can't forget Tommy DePaula. He was an author illustrator.
And my favorite, I would say, would have to be Dr. Seuss was my top favorite. Especially, I was reading Go Dog Go over and over again, and then Cat in the Hat, Green Eggs and Ham.
Green Eggs and Ham is a favorite.
I've always loved words. As a child, I loved books. You know, we didn't have much money, so the book people came to our neighborhood, and they let me check out as many books as I wanted. So I always thought if I could be a teacher, I would always be around books. So that's what I did.
Well, my husband has hot rods, and we go to a lot of car shows, and so I decided that it would be fun to write a book that we could take to the car shows.
Oh,
And so it took me a long time to write that one. It's written in rhyme, and I don't usually write in rhyme. So that one took quite a while, but it's a fun book. It's illustrated by Jack Foster.
I try to bring a lesson, something kids can learn from. How Far in Heaven, they learn that when somebody special dies, there will always be a place in their heart for that person. And why so many rules? They learn to follow rules, remember their address, their phone number. So every book I write has a lesson. So I do a little bit of everything.
There you go.
Encourage kids to read and find interesting themes for them to, pick up on.
I just want people to find, I think, whether it's a child or adult, I think loneliness is a real issue. I think it's one of the biggest issues we have, especially with this lockdown we've had recently. And I think that if you can go into a book and you find somebody else's story, it very quickly becomes your story. So it's sort of like you can never fish the same stream twice. You never read the same book twice, because when you read it when you're 10 and you read it when you're 30, you find something different. So I love the idea that people can, it's like, think of a sponge. You have a sponge and it's all dried out and it's flat, and you drop it in water and it expands. And that's what happens when you read. You have this much of your world, you drop that in somebody else's world, and suddenly you see a whole different world. And I love that about books.
Oh, I just hope that kids will love to open the books up and read them, to inspire them to use their imagination. And I think it's such an important thing for kids to read and love books.
Never give up. Don't be discouraged. Rejections come. Rejections are there for a reason, to make you a stronger person. And it's going to be the same thing in life. You're going to have rejections everywhere. It makes you stronger. I have a pile of rejections, but I never gave up. I still go forward.
I think that if you want to write a story and you have something in your mind, and you should do the legwork, do the work, because it takes a lot of work to learn the craft, but don't give up. If it's your dream to do that, then follow your dream and go for it.
I would say don't be afraid to write. Put words to paper. Don't worry about how they sound. Just write what feels good to yourself. There are lots of poets right now that I don't know if they know how amazing they are. All they have to do is they just start writing words and start thinking about it. And then sometimes you take out the excess, and what you have left is this really tight poem. So I would say, don't be afraid. Try something new. You are an artist inside.